very easy carry to pick up now, especially if you know you are up against a lifestealer. A Juggernaut can make tempo earlier, especially if the lifestealer goes for the Radiance build. So yeah, I wouldn't say that either of them necessarily outcarries the other until way late in the game when Juggernaut take it.
Ooh, Invoker going to come out from Hippomaniacs. Now, I know they switched things up. I think this is actually Supreme. He likes to play this one, and Boom will be on the safe lane. And of course, Curry has moved to the off lane role after the departure of Saberlight.
10 seconds remaining.
Saberlight, who had a very good game on Singularity yesterday.
Remaining.
Did he, my boy?
Yeah.
That's our
Boy-
sweet European
boy had
baby doing well.
He had a great time. I mean, there were a couple of tiny misplays, but he seems to be getting a lot of respect and even draft priority from his team. So I really enjoyed his play.
Yeah, which is surprising when you're in a team with, Excalibur and Singular.
Dire team ban.
Mage is mid. Excalibur's carried, Mage is mid. Yeah, so these two guys, you expect them to be kind of, demanding the space and the pick priorities and everything like that, but they are actually been showing a lot of respect to Zedlight, as you say, and allowing him to really play how he wants to play, which I think very much suits him on the offlane position. So it's going to be a tricky role for Hippomaniacs to fill. I'll be watching Curry closely to see how he does in that offlane.
Mm-hmm. But Hippomaniacs, at least, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Hippomaniacs did relatively okay yesterday. 2 draws, I think.
Yeah.
So
10 seconds
it means that for them, they are still performing okay. They took a game
5
off
seconds
of
remaining.
Askomani. They took a game off of Liquid, actually.
Yes, they did.
So they're looking a lot better right now than Wind and Rain, who are bottom of the pile. Haven't won a single map yet.
Wind and Rain are the big losers of yesterday. They just got 2-0'd twice. First by Singularity and then by Liquid. So Wind and Rain have been the only team to really just not had a look in on this group so far. So they'll certainly be looking to change things up from yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday, as far as I could see, Wind and Rain had a couple of the right ideas, but not a lot of control. And I felt that they tried to make solo plays too much. So what I want to see from them is a little bit more team play right now. And this is a core Tiny.
Yeah, looking like it is. So Invoker mid, Tiny in the offlane, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Is this good versus Juggernaut though? I always thought that Juggernaut has a pretty favorable matchup versus Tiny because you can always get that spin off through the avalanche.
Remaining.
Yeah, I don't think there's any kill threat on the Juggernaut, but at the same time, Winter Wyvern Jug is not, especially if they just dual lane it like that, the Tiny is going to get a pretty fast Blink Dagger out of it. So I don't think he'll have to. I think that both teams are going to be content with trading farm up on that lane.
Yeah.
And the real contest is going to be bot. And I'm thinking a little bit about how I'd want to lane this. Centaur Lash is a very deadly lane if you let them get on top of you. And the question is, do they want to answer with the defense of the Keeper of the Light, blast them away, or try to trade kills with Witch Doctor Lifestealer, which does deal a ton of damage?
Yeah, it certainly does. And Leshrak is one of those heroes which, he needs to be up in your face to get his damage off, but he's also quite a squishy hero himself. So it's a very fine balance playing Leshrak. And if they can push the scales over on Wind and Rain and try and get a couple of kills off on Tanika and send him back, then that could be a really nice introduction to that lane for them. And Wind and Rain are going to round their draft off with a Conko pick for that middle lane. Going to be laning into the Invoker, the classic counter, but it hasn't seemed to be doing quite as well in recent days. Just due to the fact that all these Invokers keep going Quas-Wex, and they can pretty much survive any lane with that. We've seen it I think we saw probably Invoker, one of the most picked heroes in CIS yesterday, and we just saw them all going for the Tornado and Cold Snap, and just kind of getting, just annoying the enemy by cold snapping them and ruining a CS onto a range creep or something like that, and then using the Tornado to secure their own creep. So it's a really nice way to just kind of survive in any lane and never really feel like you're super far behind.
Yeah, and as an added bonus here, this Invoker is really going to stop the Centaur and the Juggernaut from running at them.
Yeah.
As I've seen yesterday, it is brutal to walk into that Tornado EMP combo early in the game, and your entire team fight is just gone. You don't get the stun, you don't get the Omni Slash, it's all over. And in that regard, I'm a little bit surprised to see a Kunkka here instead of, say, a more sieging hero, for example. Something like a Pugna, who both counters the Invoker harder, as well as that you can actually take towers without having to go into all of that mess. And of course, Kunkka is also a bit suspicious to me right now because the hero got nerfed 3 times in a row. And usually at the point where you hit like the second nerf, even if the hero was really imbalanced, you're starting to get back to regular levels. So I feel it's more like a comfort than anything. And as you said, it's the classic counter matchup, but I don't think it's as strong as it was before.
Yeah, no, I agree, and we've seen that in action. We've seen a lot of Conquer versus Invokers actually yesterday, and they none of them were really that impressive to me. So we'll see how this one goes, but I imagine it will go much the same way since there's kind of, I wouldn't say there's going to be a huge skill gap, but I mean, let's take a kind of step back and look at both of these teams. I mean, Hippomaniacs, they had pretty much a full season last year where they've just been kind of playing in whatever they can, qualifiers, smaller tournaments, anything they can find they've been playing in. They have been pushing real hard to try and get as much experience under their belt as possible. Now, that might be shaken up by the departure of Saberlight a little bit, but there's still 4 players still playing together. Meanwhile, Wind and Rain, these guys probably playing together a little bit, but I think they were just kind of picked up by Wind and Rain as a stack which they wanted to, get on the first DPC. I'm not sure how experienced these guys are at playing together. I mean, I know we see Nico and Boogie in a ton of stacks with one another, as a Sunstrike's actually going to come onto Boogie as he tries to take some hits from the tower.
He got 5 retaliate stacks, which is pretty good. I've seen a lot of centaurs walk up the mid lane and getting surprised indeed
30
by
seconds to battle.
4 enemy heroes. So he's getting away relatively well here. And he's even going to still try and go for the rune instead, getting more stacks and walking.
Yeah, he's definitely positioning himself very aggressively here, and there is a Witch Doctor who can bounce that cast ground between the two of them, something they do have to be cognizant of, but Nico's going to try and hold the high ground. Boogie just sitting here. He's like, yeah, attack me. Please attack me. Senny, this is a good idea. And then from the low ground, yeah, the cast will bounce, but there is a retaliation from Wind and Rain to push back Hippomaniacs and secure both of these top runes. Making it even. It's 2-2 on the bounties, so no big changes.
And you'll TP straight back down to the bottom lane. So dual lane setup here with, yeah, they're going for the tiny Kotl. So I am very curious to see how they want to play this one. If they're going to go with like the outspam from the tiny, or if the Kotl is going to be manaing himself instead of his lane partner and pushing the lane all the way under tower.
Well, starting with Blinding Light, which is pretty common just to kind of mess up the Juggernaut's trying to CS here. And we have a... Oh, okay. Quick pause. Very quick pause.
He's going to miss that range creep, the knife.
Yeah, well, Curry just takes it with that big old tree of his. Do you remember the days when Tiny never got a tree unless he had Ags? That was his Ags upgrade. And if he didn't... I always remember seeing the level 1 tree in the models, but you'd never see it in game because no one ever got Ags before level 6 on Tiny. So you'd never see this like tiny little, well, Tiny carrying around this massive tree, and the model's just adorable when he's got the tree at the before he's got the first point in growth. I never got to see it, but now we do, so thank you. I feel like that change was made specifically just so that they're like, oh, this model's super cute, let's get it in the game.
I wouldn't be surprised if from like a game designer sort of standpoint, there was just someone who said like, hey, can't we have that? But then they were like, you know what? Yes, we can.
Yeah, let's redesign the whole hero around it. Okay.
I mean, sometimes Dota feels like Ice Frog is definitely shifting things up just because he feels like it.
Oh yeah, for sure. They understand that there's a need to keep the game interesting, and Celesteal in the top lane taking a fair amount of harass here as the stuns coming through from both Niqua and Boogie. Niqua getting a split off there without any setup needed. Always feels good.
Yeah, and the difference between these two offlane combos is that with the Winter Wyvern, at least the Radiant can push out their bot lane in return to these nukes from the Kotl and the Tiny. But on the top lane, once you're under the tower, you are under the tower. This Witch Doctor is not going to do anything about the creep wave. You can see that the poor Lifestealer actually doesn't really get to hit creeps as long as the Centaur is up in his face. And when there's a creep wave, you're not going to get those good bounces. So Zenny can't do too much about this big bully of a Centaur Warrunner getting face to face with.
Yep, Boogie's going to have a pretty good time up in this top lane. Talking about good times, Kunkka off to a flying start in this middle lane, 17-5 compared to the Evoker's 10-0. So there's a bit of a huge XP advantage for Hannah so far in the mid. And that will probably continue to grow. I mean, it's because Supreme's actually gone for the Exalt Invoker. We saw the Sunstrike earlier, and that should have clicked something in my brain, but it didn't. Still early, I guess. But he didn't go for the Quas Wex, which means that there's not going to be the Cold Snap Tornado kind of counter. So this is going to be a classic Kunkka versus Invoker matchup where the Kunkka should do very well for himself.
Yeah, that surprised me a little bit. I mean, from what I've seen from Supreme before, this is definitely his favorite build.
Oh, yeah.
But I wonder if that's worth it versus this Wind and Rain matchup lineup that is really, they're going to run at them and they don't really have anything to stop them off now. Apart from, well, there's going to be the Kotal ult, sure. That is one of the things that might throw a spanner in the works. Wind and Rain.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing as well is, like, you know, I kind of expect Exalt builds when you're playing with a Void or when you're playing with a Legion Commander, someone who can hold them still for easy Sunstrikes, and you don't really have that on the side of Hippomaniacs. I mean, like, a tiny combo is not the longest lockdown. You need to be really, really quick on those Sunstrikes for that. Same with, you know, the Coddle as well.
Then again, though, we have seen Supreme hit these things out of absolutely nowhere.
Yes, that's
I
very
think
true.
that man has a radar installed in one of his orbs.
Yes, he's got an organ replaced with a radar, and that just lets him know when anyone's on low HP. And it does feel that way sometimes. We've seen some really impressive stuff come out from Supreme, and expecting good things from him. And he's doing okay in this middle lane now, actually. Just as we first started talking about it, he's managed to catch up fairly significantly as the Kunkka goes to hit some jungle creeps instead, which. Yeah, I'm not too sure about it. It's always nice to try and supplement your mid lane farm, but at the same time, I think...
You're letting the pressure off, yes.
Yeah, exactly. You're just kind of letting him catch up, which I feel is questionable. But a nice little torrent there to secure the range creep. He's going to take a trip back to base. But meanwhile, down in the bottom lane, Nefrit may be in some trouble, but gets blasted around by the Coddle and the Tiny. That was really interesting. The Tiny threw the Juggernaut onto the Coddle, and Coddle's like, I don't want this, and blasts him away with a blinding light. Oh dear. Well, it's going to be 2 bouncy runes, actually, as the Wyvern was a little bit sleeping there. After all that action, just failed to look at the clock, and Muff's going to grab 2 for free. Meanwhile, up at top lane, no one's gone for these. I mean, Nico's here now, and Senny gets the deny with the Paralyzing Cask, but again, you know, it doesn't seem like anybody had their eyes on the clock in pretty much any of the lanes, except Muff, who's the big winner. Meanwhile, there is going to be a Shrine for Senny, and boom. Themselves nice and healthy again.
Yeah, and they really have to supplement themselves with these creeps here. I wouldn't be surprised to see Zenny stack a little bit as well, just because this Invoker most likely isn't going to be that enabled to play up unless the Tiny keeps doing really well in this bot lane, and it means you're going to have 2 heroes in the jungle. This Lifestealer has been suffering. He's only at 17 CS right now.
Bottom lane, it's a kill onto the Coddle. The rotation from Hannah is successful. The X marks the boat combo. It doesn't really end very well for Muff there. So I'll just say the easy first blood onto the Coddle. I mean, when Kunkka gets 6, if there hasn't been first blood yet, you can rotate to a side lane. You can be almost certain you're going to get a kill with that X marks the spot if you manage to catch support out in the nighttime like that. So fairly nicely done from Hannah, but this is also going to mean that the Kunkka's getting a bit of pressure onto the tower with his catapult, and he's even going to fortify here. Might be some other lanes as well, but Supreme's just trying to get as much damage on Hannah as he can. Now the Coddle coming in from behind, the Witch Doctor is coming in from behind, sorry, as they go onto the Kunkka. The Sunstrike is there, catching him out perfectly as Kunkka turns around to drop some spells and ends up just going down. Absolutely brilliant. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, they actually get a kill onto Nefrit because of that TP to the middle lane. So 2 kills for Hippomaniacs across the map here. That's going to be expensive for Wind and Rain.
Oh man, and that's why I wasn't watching the bot lane at all. I don't think you can leave your mid lane against an Invoker with Forge Spirits. He's going to deal so much damage to your tower, especially when the catapult wave is coming in.
That's down to 1k HP already.
That's...
Why? Yo, you okay here, buddy? There's a stun coming down on top of these... oh no, he set himself up perfectly for the Sunstrike with the Cold Embrace. Oh dear, yo. He doesn't respect the Invoker. No one seems to be respecting the Invoker. They leave him alone in mid to push the tower, and he gets it super low, and then with a good rotation for the Witch Doctor, and he never left. Denny never left and gets himself another kill from that.
And look at how much vision Senny put down in his walk. Like you can see 1, 2, 3, just a nice little line.
Yep.
All the way up. And they're clearly marking their territory here.
Yeah, they're
already
marking
ready
this mid
for a
lane.
push on the tower. Yeah.
Because as you said, you know, if Invoker doesn't have a good time, he's going to want to sit back in the jungle. So they realize that, and they're saying, right, well, we need Supreme to have a good time in lane. So you buy all these wards, you do everything you can to secure it. Yeah, he's okay. He's got the rage. Oh, no! Boogie catching the stun at the very last second of the rage there. That was magnificent timing from Boogie and will result in a kill for them onto Boom. Jesus, that was pixel perfect right there.
Very beautiful. Yeah. That's he had to think about it a little bit, like, am I gonna do this? Boogie is actually one of the players who was, I would say, too trigger happy yesterday.
Danny, no.
He tried.
He's gonna be okay with it. I thought he gave
It's
his
worth
life
it.
for that dino attempt, but in the end
It's
gets
worth
away.
it.
Yeah.
Boogie went very hard on a Bat Rider yesterday, and I don't think that was quite worth it. But he's definitely stepping up his play today, sir.
Oh, I think we missed a dank Sunstrike, unfortunately.
Ah, man. I mean, here's the thing. As soon as that Winter Wyvern gets low, the Sunstrike is the easiest thing in the world. And it's going to be like that for every single hero gets
Well, 'cause he's gonna
Cold
cold embrace
Embrace.
himself. Yeah. You need to cold embrace him on like high HP, which doesn't make much sense as Nico's just getting beat down up in the top lane here. Unfortunately, the Centaur just left him alone. Didn't really have anything else to supply with. That Stampede was on cooldown, so fortunately they just leak away a kill onto Niqua.
Yul trying to move in for ward, but he got
Not
spotted by
again,
Curry.
y'all! Not again! Oh dear, he's trying to get some wards down, trying to get some vision, but he's just managed to die 3 times in a row, all to these Sunstrikes as well. He's gonna be having PTSD when he walks out and looks at the sun tomorrow.
Just hug your friends. Always hug your friends. I'm hoping to see Wind and Rain actually do that. Like, they should realize by now that once that Sunstrike comes out, you need to hug friends. And Niqua is coming in from the backside right now. Hana pushing in the wave. Invoker, check the rune, but he
Gets
gets
in trouble. In comes a Stampede. They're going to go in hard. Hannah's onto him as well. This should be a kill, but he's actually managed to get the Ghost Walk off, and they don't seem to have the vision for him. They're trying to run him down. Niqua's trying to get the job done and should be able to do so, and they'll grab him. Meanwhile, Curry trying to do something here, but just runs away with an avalanche. Might be able to throw in a stick or something, but it looks like this tier 1 tower in the mid lane for Wind and Rain should be going down, or at least getting pressured pretty hard here.
There's a catapult and edict.
Yeah.
This tower is toast unless Hippomaniacs bring in more people.
Yeah, the Lightning Light not going to do much. They don't even go for the deny. Curry tries to take forward, but he's actually going to get X marks here, and I'm not entirely sure there's a whole lot Muff can do. Well, he's going to throw down the ultimate and try and buy Tiny a little bit of space here. Meanwhile, Witch Doctor comes in from behind, and he just drops a Death Ward to kill off Niqua. Very nicely done from him as Curry turning around, fighting. He actually popped a salve to turn up onto Boogie, and the Sunstrike comes down with the Tiny combo, and that is going to result in 2 kills for Hippomaniacs here. So they do lose a tower, but they get 2 big heroes in response to the Leshrac, and the Centaur will be sleeping in the dirt for the next few seconds.
A little bit over-eager there from Wind and Rain. Muff coming in with that Will-O-the-Wisp. They don't have any good heroes to hit that ball with at all. And you could see that they were nearly ready to get out, but then Zany comes in with a beautiful cask on the backline, bouncing between 2. And ooh, I thought he might get spotted there. He might have actually. I think Niqua pinged that ward that he. And yeah, one of the big winners out of all of this mess, by the way, is Juggernaut, who didn't have that easy of a lane, but he has been left completely unmolested for the last 5 minutes or so.
Yep, unrustled and living carefree and come back from this pretty bad laning phase. I like the fact that he's going for these drums. It's going to give them a little bit of kind of snowballing potential. And I think that's where you want to play. Hannah's pretty big right now, and he's going for the armlet, which I like. You know, I don't think this is going to be this is a good idea to go for the Radiance game.
Yeah.
He's going for the armlet. They want to find some aggression on the map.
With how bad his early game has been,
I hope.
I don't think he has the time. Zany found a beautiful cask bounce onto Boogie. He's
Yeah.
very
Oh, the
technical.
tree as
That's
well.
killing.
He might die in base. Let's see. No, the last
Well,
stick's not going to get him. He's okay. That was close.
that hood really saving his life there.
Now, meanwhile, Senny also TPing out of danger. Yeah, do we know what happened to the Leshrac? He just got... Oh, yeah. Okay. I probably could have guessed it. Jump in from the
Yeah.
tiny. Ava. Toss. Sunstrike.
Leshrac is such a fragile little pony. It's one of the problems with the position 4 Lash that you get the same amount of tower consequences out of it because, well, you get to build an Edict build. But you don't tank up fast, and especially not if you build Arcanes instead of, getting early drums, for example. He has 2 bracers lined up, he knows.
Yeah, it's
He's going to be food for this Tiny if he doesn't do that.
Absolutely. And the Tiny's just going to be a homing missile on him as well. He's always going to be a pretty easy kill as Yol goes for the risky Cold Embrace, but there is no Sunstrike on him right now.
I can tell you from experience that Limp, whenever he plays Tiny, he's either a Leshrax or Winter Wyverns. He is very, very happy.
There's
Just
both in
jump
this
them,
game.
and they die. There's nothing I can do. And Curry's got that early blink, so he can also reach for those fragile heroes in the back lines. Do they know Niqua is up there? I'm seeing some things.
Yeah, Curry was like
Curry
moving in the
seems
direction. I'm a little bit
suspicious.
nervous. They're actually going to jump onto Nefrit instead, and with the Death Ward coming down, but the Sunstrike a little bit off the mark, allowing Nefrit to go north and get himself to relative safety here, especially with those drums just flying through the tree line. Senny
There's a
will
smoke
see him
coming
though.
in from the back.
Ooh, the counter play coming in from Wind and Rain. This
Nefrit's
could
ready to
be
turn.
big. Let's see what they can do. Yol comes around the trees. They've taken a little bit too long with its initiation right now, but they will be able to get the Winter's Curse off onto the Witch Doctor. Boogie setting up for an easy stun, but in comes a boat as well, landing onto 3, but the rage comes off from Boom just in time. Muff should still be going down. The Omni Slash coming out onto Curry. Also should be an extra kill, but they're struggling to do the damage, but finally they'll be able to drag him back and finish the job. And that is 3 big kills coming in for Wind and Rain as they punish Hippomaniacs in the top lane. A beautiful bait, a beautiful smoke, and all-around good players coming out from Wind and Rain, and that's going to set them up to grab another tier 2 tower here as Niqua just blasts that tower down with that Diabolic Edict, and it's going to be another tier 2 now. This time going the way of Wind and Rain.
Supreme is getting close to finishing up that Aghanim Scepter, but on the other hand, that does mean that he wasn't involved in that fight at all, apart from the one Sunstrike all the way at the start. And if you want to hold on to your towers, then yeah, you could see how a Quaswax build there would have done way, way, way more work. And instead, he's going to start split pushing, which I like much more. With that alacrity, hopefully with the Forge Spirit as well. He's playing it safe. Yol's coming in.
Yeah, tasty Yol as Curry is making his way over. Yol though, he knows how much food he could be right now, so he's just staying right in the trees. There's a lot of heroes. They're trying to scout him out with the Illuminate. He's being hunted right now. Curry's gonna jump into the trees.
Curry.
He's probably gonna find him here. Eats the correct tree. Ava, toss. There's your Sunstrike coming right down, predicting it perfectly, and Yol is gonna drop like a rock. But meanwhile, in the top lane, Niqua and Nefrit, they're going to come in and get a fair amount of harassment up on this tier 3 tower. And this is going to force back TPs as Lifestealer unable to defend all by himself here. He's taken to the front lines and just trying to blast down Nefrit as best he can as the rage comes off again.
As soon as the Tiny shows, there's just not enough catch in Hippomaniacs, and Wind and Rain know this. So this poor Lifestealer, who hasn't even finished his armlet yet, is unable to stop these heroes from just running in. And you could see Niqua really positioning himself away from the creep wave, get as many of those blasts of the Diabolic Edict on the tower as possible. And if they threaten your buildings like that, you have to come back. And you can see that Supreme wasted a lot of time going back, doing nothing. Now he's out towards the mid lane again. But Wind and Rain is playing him like a fiddle right now.
Yeah, they're doing a good job in completely controlling the tempo of the map right now and dictating where Hippomaniacs are going to be at any given time. But Supreme...
Kunkka's nearly finished up Radiance.
Yeah, so Kunkka finishes off the... Oh, wow, he did actually... So he goes Armlet, then into the Radiance afterwards, and is still able to get the Radiance at a good timing. Wow, that's kind of insane. Supreme, meanwhile, he went for the Midas and now has a full axe completed and is looking towards the Boots of Travel next. Continue that split pushing presence. Sunstrike is dropped, and he manages to find Yol. Curry was on top of him.
Oh, Yol. He is not having a fun time.
Yeah, he's not. He's getting beaten down every time he's on vision. But I mean, at least they know there's vision there, right? Oh, he's actually in the process of dewarding. Kind of sad.
Yep. Gets denied award at Brutal. So yeah, Nefert and Nico are just still playing around with Boom here on the top, and he's wisely choosing to kite his way out because Nico wants to stun him from the trees. He's looking. They're like, this pony is in here somewhere. I can smell him. There we go.
Are they in to go on Boom right now? And they'd actually managed to get the stun off. They're going straight in with the Omni Slash. Boom trying to make it back to his team, but he's not going to be able to make it back in time. Oh man, Nikwa with the stun onto the Lifestealer before the Rage comes in. Meanwhile, another kill onto Boogie down at bottom. I mean, it's just another combo, I believe. I think that's, yep. Oh look, it's Paralyzing Cask, Avatos,
I'm
and
not
then
sure
a dead
if Gurk's
hero.
going to get out of this one.
Oh, it's looking a little bit awkward. Senny's trying to draw their attention over, but it looks like he's just might be adding to the pile here as Curry's being beaten down. Senny going for the TP out and will be able to do so despite Tiny's best efforts to toss a Juggernaut in his direction. But, well, at least the Witch Doctor escapes. But yeah, Curry does die for that kill. But again, you know, drawing Wind and Rain back a little bit could be kind of good for Hippomaniacs, but they're just going to get a little bit more space on the map.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, in spite of their losses of terrain with the double Midas, Hippomaniacs hasn't actually lost the net worth battle all that much. And their Invoker is online now. So Supreme has two things he can do now. He can hold the base whenever he wants to with his Aghanims. He's got all of his spells ready. And he can also, with the Boots of Travel, TP out to split push. And there is a go on poor Senny over on the side.
He's living for now. He's managing to get away. Meanwhile, there is a Winter's Curse onto Invoker. Follow-up Boogie here, but in comes a Coddle, throwing in the Ignis Fighters over the top, but they're going to take care of it very quickly and continue the go on Supreme. Supreme just getting melted in the middle of everybody right now. Boom as well, not really looking like he's going to survive this one as the boat comes sailing through. Will miss, Senny warding them back with the Death Board. Meanwhile, that singular creep trying to run back to base, and the mission will be completed as Boom gets out okay, but they lose a tower. And Wind and Rain, despite only killing the Invoker, they'll be very happy with how that one went. They're trying to get the kill onto Nikwa as well, but that's not going to happen. They don't quite have the damage. Nikwa, thank God for braces. That just helps them survive this one. There's a TP coming in from Shenny as well. He's got the stun, doesn't have the vision though. Kind of close the gap here as there is a Edict coming through, and they toss forwards Boom, and he's going to grab the kill. So at least they get one on the way out. But that is going to be it. Just one kill.
Oh, and I was talking about the gold balance being just fine in spite of the territory loss. Just with that one tower kill and the death of Supreme, that's 3k in the advantage of Wind and Rain right now.
Yep.
And I don't know why Supreme was that far forward. I think he just didn't expect the Winter's Curse to come out from that angle. And
Maybe.
yeah, you gotta sit back with that Invoker. You can't tank the front on the front lines at all, and all of your team's net worth is on you. They can't fight without you. So Supreme, please, next time, wait until they come to you.
"20 minutes into the game, and a very small net worth for Wind and Rain, but they are certainly making Hippomaniacs feel it, especially when about 3k of Hippomaniacs' net worth is tied up in these useless Midas items."
They're an investment, no bad.
You
Stonks!
stonks indeed, yeah, but, you know, for the time being, it's just a little bit of attack speed. When it comes down to the practical nitty-gritty of things, when you're fighting each other up, all it is a bit of attack speed. Soon that will translate to a couple more items, but for now, they are starting to struggle, Hippomaniacs. They're feeling a little bit desperate. Losing all of their outer towers as Nefrit gets to work with Juggernaut is not feeling very scared right now as he just sits here and smashes down the tier 2. Hannah's in as well. He's got himself this Radiance, and he is ready to just take to the front lines and beat up Hippomaniacs. But Hippomaniacs, they're trying to look for an entry here. There's a Torrent is going to get it wrong. They had 3 trees to choose from, but they get the stomp now onto the Witch Doctor, 4-staffing the Witch Doctor forwards, but he's got the X on him, so there's not really much he can do except wait for the sweet release of death, and it will be granted to him eventually, but not before he gets the cask off. It's a final fuck you, but go down, he will. And Curry's coming forward. Yeah, he's wanting something here, but he's going to get X marks. He's carrying a very precious package with him right now. Witch Doctor's going to buy back into this one. He did manage to mess up the X marks combo with that avalanche. Supreme backing him up as well. Very tense kind of playing around each other here as in goes Boogie. Boogie's had enough, jumping straight forward onto the Invoker. Supreme, though, gets out of the fight, turns around with the Meteor coming down, but Nefrit, he wants Supreme here, trying to go for the Omni Slash. Can he get it off? Supreme on the run. Has he got the Ghost Walk? Yes, he does, but they somehow have the vision. No, they don't have the vision anymore. He moves out the way of the Sentry Ward. Meanwhile, the Winter's Curse comes down onto a solo Tiny, but it gives Nefrit the chance to get over and start to chop away, but he gets disarmed using the spin, trying to phone around and fight this one. Meanwhile, Hannah gets the X-Mark onto Curry, but Boom's on top of him as well, and he does not survive very long when the Conquer is getting smashed up by the Lifestealer, and now Hippomaniacs, they've taken 2, they've taken 3, and now they want more, but they won't find any more than this. The Juggernaut and the Wyvern are able to get to safety, but a huge fight for Hippomaniacs.
The Invoker survives and really
Radiant's middle
draws the
tower
attention
is
of the
under
Juggernaut
attack.
so far away. I think the hesitation on the Omni Slash before was him thinking, can I even finish him off before he gets out of range? He went for it anyway, and sadly he was right the
Radiant's
first
middle
time.
tower has fallen.
Supreme moves out of the way, and in the meantime the backline of Wind and Rain dies to this Lifestealer chomping down on them. And I must say right now, breaking high ground for Wind and Rain, in spite of their map control, is not going to be easy. They don't have easy siege apart from this Lashrak, and since this is a Lash as well, who went double Bracer and is now going to go into a Yules and then a BKB, those are not a Roche preparation items. And this Winter Wyvern doesn't have a medallion or anything either, which is not like a common item on Winter Wyverns anyway. It just means that if they want to break the base and they want to throw heroes at the problem, it's going to be very risky because they're not going to take Roche, most likely, unless Hippomaniacs slip up first. Because Hippomaniacs can definitely fight Roche, and they have so much area control with this Scuttle, with this Invoker. Wind and Rain can't actually go for it out of the blue. It's too risky.
If they need to
So-
control out the map, they need to force back.
Yeah,
I mean, if they
yeah.
could break high ground and take a shrine, then it's definitely more of an option for them. But yeah, there's 2 good Roche fighting coming out from Hippomaniacs. But, well...
They're doing it anyway, and it seems that the entirety of Hippomaniacs is just on the wrong side of the... Yeah, there's a ping now.
Yeah, they're going to make their way over. Do they Sunstrike the Vision, or do they
Yeah.
try and get in without it?
There's Sunstriked.
Okay, now this Tornado's going to come in. EMP as well. They won't help to get away from this. So they go and spin, but Boogie's going to lose a lot of his mana. And Supreme gets to spend a bit of intimate time with Roche outside of the pit.
Yol?
Ooh, he's managed to find Yol, but no, he can't finish the job, but that will force out, and now he actually uses the Cold Embrace as well, but the Deafening Blast going to finish the job. Meanwhile, Curry's being controlled up a little bit here, but there's no commitment onto the Tiny. And Muff, force-staffing forwards, try to get the Ignis Fighters off, will whiff. Pretty amazed actually, that's like the biggest spell in the game, but there you go. Hannah's still on the run, but in comes Centaur actually. Looking to get a bit of damage done. They toss forward the Invoker, but he gets stunned up immediately. Omni Slash coming through. Supreme's in trouble. He's forced to pop the BKB and the invisibility as Nefrit takes down Stenny with the Omni Slash in the backlands. Boogie has fallen. Boom on the run. He's got to try and get himself away with some toggles. It's going to keep him safe as they come back into Wind and Rain. Oh dear, this Leshrak's in a pretty bad position right now. The Pretty Pony might be going down as the toss comes in. The Avalanche is there as well. Supreme stunned up, but he's going to be able to get himself out. And Hippomaniacs, despite taking tons of damage on their team, they're all just living. They are all surviving through this right now. So it's 1 death on the Witch Doctor, a death on the Centaur, a death on the Leshrak, but I would say a victory for Hippomaniacs here. Don't think anybody's going to be taking the Roche after this, however.
They are pinging it out though. Are Hippomaniacs thinking of doing it? With the Desolator on the Lifestealer, they definitely have the ability to take it way faster than Wind and Rain, but that Lifestealer solo, yeah, he's gonna take that regen rune, move back for a bit. And I gotta say, especially Hannah throwing that boat early, he must be regretting his actions right now. Because if you throw that boat once the fight breaks out true and well in the side of your own lane right there, then they can totally turn that fight. But instead, the Juggernaut has to move out of the way, he's taking too much damage. And it all sort of turns from there. Oh.
Yeah, Nefrit was farming pretty deep there, but he actually just spins and TPs away when he senses something wrong. They're going to try and go back into Roche. This is incredibly brave from Wind and Rain, but I kind of like it. There's a Sunspark. It's going to scout them out fairly quickly. The Healing Ward comes down. They're just trying to take it in time. And with Yol bouncing around, he's got a Winter's Curse. He can hold them off. I think they might actually get this. Supreme's making his way over. Tiny coming in from the back as well. He's got a Lifestealer inside of him. Nefrit's been left alone in the pit. Wind and Rain, they're trying to back out right now. But in they go with the Avatar's combo. Hannah's still alive, though. The Winter's Curse comes down. Boat coming out on top of them as well. Not going to do a whole lot as they stack everything on top of one another. But now Hippomaniacs can get into the pit. They've got an Ignis Furnace holding them back. The Spook comes in comes Boogie as well onto the front lines, but Zenny outside of the pit with the Death Ward, just going to try and bring down the Sentinel. The Cold Embrace going to bring him down a little bit longer, but Nefrit's on top of the Lifesteal. Lifesteal needs to get out. He's not going to be able to do so, though, as he gets brought down. Hannah taking to the front lines, trying to finish off this Witch Doctor as well. The X marks out on Tim, and he'll be able to bring down the Witch Doctor, but Supreme coming in with a snowball from behind, and Hannah gets dropped like a brick. Now Neekwa trying to fight up into 2. He gets the stun off just before he goes down, but Hippomaniacs, they've taken 3. It's a buyback on the Lifestealer as he's coming back into the fight as well. Hippomaniacs really want to take this Roche, but Supreme up into the high ground, but he's got the Tornado to keep himself safe. Nefrit wants to go for the Omni Slash, will be able to do so. Supreme dropping so low, but gets away as Curry comes in, takes down Yol. Nefrit going to die immediately after that Omni Slash. It's an ultra kill for Curry as everyone on Wind and Rain is dead, and now this Roshan, we finally learn who it belongs to, and the answer is Hippomaniacs as Lifestealer picks up that Aegis and gets heading down towards its middle lane. They want to take more than just Roshan, they want to take some towers as well.
Oh yeah, they've waited long enough for this. And Hippomaniacs is literally using their buybacks there to try and secure that Roche, and they get it in the end, and I'm a bit disappointed almost that Wind and Rain doesn't answer in kind. They had Nefrit up on that high ground near the shrine. They could have fought back and TP'd in, but instead they lose the Roche. And now how do you engage into this? There's a bottle sitting behind, spamming out those blasts. Supreme is almighty with his Aghanims, with that Blink Dagger, BKB, you're not killing him. And the Lifestealer is also back into the game. You gave him enough time. Yeah. I think that was a moment right there.
This feels this game just tipped heavily in Hippomaniacs' favor. And, I mean, well, you know, it's easy to say when they've got a Aegis and a pair of barracks in the middle lane, but, man, it really did change around. Do you think Wind and Rain should have committed some buybacks into it?
Sorry?
Do you think Wind and Rain need to commit some buybacks into that fight or something?
Yeah, I really do think so. Because the Ignis was down, the Death Ward was down, and those cask bounces from Zenny did so much in that fight. First Boogie in the pit, getting linked up with the Roshan, and then afterwards Hannah and the Leshrac on the backside is getting demolished by that coconut.
Yeah, the coconut did work. Shane had a fantastic fight all around, really. Just like, you know, tanky heroes hate Maledict, and you're going to Centaur and a Conquer, so easy peasy. That's going to be a TP in from the Tiny. They're all set up for this one right now, though, as they're going to throw in the boat, but I think this is a retreat from Wind and Rain. They're a little bit scared right now, but Curry has blinked off cooldown, jumping forwards, trying to grab someone. Nefrit TP's away as the Winter's Curse is out on the backlines, but I don't think Yol's getting away right now. He's trying to make some plays around the cliff to manage to dodge out a couple of spells, but the Tornado's going to put an end to his shenanigans. Goodbye. Oh, no, okay, heals through it. Okay, the right click then. Fine, says Supreme. I'll do it with my bare hands.
Radiant's bottom shrine is under attack. Radiant's bottom shrine has fallen.
And I keep doubting these boats from the Kunkka. I think he's using them too offensively, especially now that they're actually on the back foot. You're going to need the damage protection on your own team on that boat buff, instead of trying to use it for the damage.
Curry is hunting. Curry's going for it. Cataclysm coming down as well, doing a ton of damage to both of them, but no kill to be had. Boom is just chasing in right now, but he's not going to be able to find anything. It was a nice play from Curry and from the Invoker. Really could have worked, but unfortunately just lacking a little bit of damage. Need a little bit more from one of them, and the Yules from the Leshrac helping out immensely as well.
Yules Embracer saving the day.
Yep. Racer MVP, for at least for the Leshrac size.
Yeah, and you see now that Supreme's had his kit together for a while, you can really see how hard the game is becoming for Wind and Rain, because they can't really split push anymore either. Before, Nefrit and Yuko were just challenging the top lane. Now the Invoker is up there, and he can Boots of Travel out again immediately, so his team doesn't have to give up this offensive position at all.
Yeah.
And if the fight's not, if it's not a 5-on-5, if it's just a pick-off, The Invoker doesn't even have to come down. He can just Sunstrike.
It's always nice to have someone on your team who's has boots of travel, just because
Yes.
it's a really, really broken item, I think. But
Oh yeah, I think it's actually a requirement for any game where, well, tier 2s go down. which sounds pretty rough to say, but
in the rain, going for the wraparound here. They're trying to make something happen, but they're initiating pretty hard onto the ledge track. The team need to get here soon, otherwise they're just going to lose Nika. And here they go, onto the backlines, trying to take down the Keeper of the Light. Can they do so in time, though? Muff, he's bouncing around the fight and still able to get the Ignis off. So this already isn't going to plan. In comes the Cold Embrace, the Winter's Curse onto the Tiny, and that's going to bring down at least one of the Aegis on the Lifestealer. Meanwhile, Muff has finally died to Nephrit, but it did cost them an Omni Slash. Meanwhile, the combo coming out onto Yol. Yol keeping himself alive. The Cataclysm, though, it's going to land a boom! Down goes Yol, but Curry's also going to die in response as well. So, all in all, a pretty good defense from from Wind and Rain as they force back Hippomaniacs.
and a much better boat this time.
Yes. Yeah, we had the good boat at last. So yeah, that wraparound from Wind and Rain, really successful. A really nice little play from them as they smoke and to go onto the backlines, taking down that Coddle. And this fight went well. It could have gone better if they'd managed to kill the Coddle before the Will-O-Wisp came out, but unfortunately it didn't quite have enough damage to really rip through him. Did cost them an Omni Slash even onto the Coddle at the end of the fight there, but all the same.
Man's got a plate mail. He's not dying.
Yeah, thank you, Coddle. But imagine if they find the Witch Doctor instead in that situation. He would have gone down much, much quicker. And that could have been a really nice fight. But, I mean, they get Sunny anyway, I think. Lee?
I really like that they're showing the initiative to just come in from the flank, not straight up wait for the siege to happen. Because I think I noticed before that if you try to face this lineup head on, you're not going to make it anymore. Their range is too big, so let's sneak in. Very nice. You're getting a good ultimate off. And I'm also seeing a 4-staff purchase come out from Boogie. This is going to matter a lot. He's been getting caught by this Will-O-Wisp after his initiation so many times. And it means he just melts to the Witch Doctor. So he's going to actually get to survive his initiations now and maybe go in a second or a third time. That matters a lot when you're more of a single target initiator than any kind of team fighter. If you have a team fight spell, you blow it, you're good, right?
Mm-hmm.
And oh, Nephrit! Oh, his spidey senses were tingling.
Yep, he gets out of there. Or did he see the Ghost Walk footsteps?
I think he might have just hit the Ghost Walk footsteps.
Quick reactions from that general, but definitely feeling like something's wrong. I mean, when you're in this deep and you don't have a team anywhere near you, you need to be really, really quick on those reactions. You know, the moment you see anything, just constantly, yeah, Spider-Man mode. We're just looking around you, like constantly making sure everything is looking okay. The moment you see anybody, just get the hell out.
Radiant are scanning.
Is there an Abyssal Blade coming? No, Lycia's still not going for that Abyssal Blade, so Jug does still get to do this. He gets to be wherever he wants on the map, can always get out relatively safely, but Wind and Rain, they're going for something here, at least they're threatening, as in comes that boat, in comes the X-Mark. They're going to go onto the Tiny right now. He has got the life gear inside of him, and the Omnislash got to come out onto Curry. Gets caught onto Boom instead, though. Spreading out the damage and not really able to bring anybody down. They're still chasing Curry. They're going in real deep for this Tiny right now, but the Tiny, he's going to survive. We won on the back lines. The Winter's Curse and the Ignis Fardus is going to come down. Supreme kept safe for now. Meanwhile, Hannah on the run through the trees. Elysia's trying to find him. Oh, what a tornado! Catching out the Conqueror. Boom will be able to take him down. Meanwhile, Boogie sitting on the front lines. In comes the Deafening Blast, but force-staffing him forwards, trying to get a stun off, but still unable to do so. That bloody Cold Snap just doing work, but look at the Omni Slash. Sorry, the Juggernaut just tearing apart the Lifestealer. Lifestealer is actually going to die to Nikwa. They look towards Shenny as well. Shenny trying to fight up here, but he's losing health pretty quickly. Nephrit's on his back right now. Should be able to finish the job as he brings him into the trees. And slap, slap. There we go. Grabs the kill. Meanwhile, Curry's found Nikwa as well. Nikwa trying a little bit too hard to get the kill finished off there. So does give away his own life, but again, it's Hippomaniacs taking the heavy losses and Wind and Rain just losing a couple, but they did have to buy back on Hannah and Yol, mind you, so all in all, I don't think Hippomaniacs are going to be super sad about that one.
No, that's definitely an even trade, I'd say, and I think Wind and Rain... Oh, Yol. I'm sorry, Yol. That's a dieback. He's having such a rough game.
Yeah, maybe not quite so much of an even trade anymore.
No, but those buybacks provide Hippomaniacs with a win condition now. If you kill Hannah, you're golden. And they'll happily trade that for a couple of heroes. They didn't really lose all that much of their gold lead. I still have supreme map control with this invoker.
Very good.
I did that on accident.
It happens. It happens. Kind of seeps into your
ever
brain.
noticed yourself making, like, using words that are more associated with the topic than
Yeah.
strictly necessary?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes the human brain just does that. I find it fascinating. You don't want to do it, but your brain does. Anyway,
well, as we wait-
Win and Rain is still in a different, like a difficult spot here, and they were looking towards that Roshan earlier, but it wasn't up yet. Now everyone on Hippomaniacs is back. All of the spells are back up, and they still don't have any way to take that Roche fast. Because that's the only way they're going to do it. Either a pick off or a sneak. Because if they have time to come in on the side of Hippomaniacs, you get tornadoed, you get EMP'd, it's done again.
Yep, hopefully they learned from last time, Wind and Rain, that going straight into this Roche without a pick-off is probably pretty risky move. Let's see what they can pull out here. Tiny might be leading the charge. He wants to try and take the same direction up as last time, and Yol, he might even find Yol in the same position as last time. Smoke broken on. Might have run out there, not. Going for the long wrap around here. The lane. Stop them all going forward for this, so. And Wind and Rain all gathered on this high ground, and a pause out from Nefrit as well. As, oh no, the Juggernaut actually disconnected from the game, so a full-on DC from him.
Tension became too much for him. He had to go take a breather.
Yeah, I'm appreciative. All right, so how is this next fight going to go? Because right now, we have Wind and Rain holding the high ground pretty well. I mean, Hannah's coming down a little bit here just to push forwards. Meanwhile, Tiny with that Lifestealer inside of him, hiding in the trees, waiting to see if anybody comes towards for the creeps. And
they're not as safe up there as they'd like to be. With Muff's huge area control, with the Will-O-the-Wisp, they can always jump up there, drop the Ignis, and force everyone to vacate the area, so...
here they go, they're going to unload onto Hannah, and look at Hannah just absolutely get
so
melted, but he gets a BKBL from the Sunstrike. It's just about going to miss as well. Meanwhile, Curry finds a kill onto Yol. Not quite sure how Yol ended up going down there, but there we go. Boogie in with the stomp onto the Invoker. Omnisash going to follow through as well. Do they have the damage? Yes, they do. Down goes the Invoker. Curry going to go the same way as well, but the falls off going to save him from Muff. But is it enough? Curry trying to run around the Shopkeeper, but the Shopkeeper is not offering much defenses here. And Nefra's going to take down another. That's a double kill for them. And they've even caught themselves a Lifestealer. The big boy. The Lifestealer getting controlled up, but in comes the Ignis Father's just trying to buy them some time to help Boom. Boom's actually fighting this one right now. I think he should have used this time to get out, but my boy wants to take some fights. Now he's just getting chopped up by the Juggernaut. The Blender is trying to grab him, but he is pretty fast with that. Oh, now getting inside Muff as well. Muff offers him a safe vessel to get himself out. So a buyback from Curry will hold the line, not cost them too much to the fight, as this area looks really weird without any trees around it anymore. But anyway.
That was such a weird fight. I do think that the call, whoever made the call on Wind and Rain to go back in there, that's a great call. You know that Hippomaniacs is feeling very eager there. They saw how much damage they did to Hana on that initiation. That Koga just melted.
Yeah.
But they get to turn around with the boat into a team that kind of left their Kotl behind, and you could see that the fight got a lot harder for Wind and Rain as soon as that Will-O-the-Wisp dropped. They have to deal with that first. But the Overeager course just chased away from their Kotl, thinking that they could get something nice going, and instead they get Boogie.
Oh, and
Right
Curry's
in their
dead
face.
again. It's a normal thing. I mean, Tiny did have a double damage rune that time around, but now Wind and Rain forced out of the pit. How many times is this going to happen? I mean, Winter Wyvern's a fairly big part of their Roche taking ability, and Boom's kind of, you know, he's testing the waters here. So you're seeing how many hits he can get off onto Roche. They're going to like cheer him up as well. And it's like, guys, he's still doing it, guys. We haven't stopped him. We'll get some vision on Roshan thanks to this torrent. Needs to do something here. And now
You
to
don't wanna engage
quarter
into
HP,
this.
they need to get in, but Hippomaniacs in position perfectly to defend Boom right now. Gonna throw in one more torrent and then leave it be. So actually, they're just gonna straight up give up Roshan.
There is no contesting it without the Winter's Curse. It's literally half of their team fight.
Yep.
And right now, I feel like Hippomaniacs have been in control of the game is in the same way for such a long time. If you're winning rain, you must be feeling like you're banging your head against the wall. Oh,
Jump in,
Supreme,
stun.
what are you
Supreme
doing
called
over
out. This
there?
is his Aegis, but it is going to be burnt down. He actually pops a BKB. Oh no, that was a big mistake. But the rest of the team coming in, trying to help him out. What can they do here? The Omnisatch is going to come through and just finish him off for a second time. So Supreme beating away both of his lives instantly. And now they're onto Muff on the backlines as well. Muff not going to stand much of a chance. They get the curse off. Okay, I know he's taking damage here. Hannah going to get low, going to get finished off. Maybe one more right click, playing with the armlet. But now the open wounds comes out and Lifestealer will claim that kill. So that's a Conquer dead without buyback nonetheless for 120 seconds. I mean, this is going to be a long time to defend. And Nikwa as well, he's got the yields, but it's just delaying the inevitable as they'll come down on him. Boom gets a right click. Another kill going their way. Leshrac does have buyback, but Hippomaniacs, they are taking to the high ground and they are looking to take some buildings right now. 2 heroes missing from the side of Wind and Rain. Conquer dead for 95 seconds. Supreme buys back, as did Muff, and they're just looking to fight up right now. These OG buybacks where they just buy back instantly and TP in and immediately get into the fight before it's over and continue pushing in their favor.
I am really enjoying how business-like Hippomaniacs is using these buybacks.
Yep, yeah, they see an advantage to gain from it and they will just pop them off. After it. He's happy to be on the front lines right now, holding back as best he can. The stun comes through. Tiny, he's taking some hits right now. He's taking a lot of hits right now, actually. He's just going to straight up die, and Boom's coming in pretty deep onto this one. He tries to finish off the barracks, but they get fortified up, and now he's in a really awkward situation. Tries to get inside a creep, will be successful, and they are fortified up for now, so he's got a little bit of time to try and get himself out. Holding back. They need to bring the creeps around. They need to get the creeps aggro. Then he's going to try for it. Oh, he's actually taking control of the creep. Okay. Has he? No, he hasn't.
I think he gave himself away there, though.
Yeah. Oh no, he didn't. He didn't take over the creep. It was still a radiant creep. Winter's Gust gonna come out. And that will be the Lifestealer dying. And if the Witch Doctor came down and right-clicked that creep and tried to drag it over, he might have died himself. But I mean, if he gets that creep aggro,
That would
just
have been
escape,
the next level play,
I would have
though.
been so impressed. Yeah. I think he just would have got jumped on and died immediately if he tried it. I don't know.
Like, and all of this entire thing happening, like even Hippomaniacs still going for the base, it started off with a misplay from Supreme, just being completely out of position. The only reason they get away with it is that they were so far ahead in the first place. And yeah, I am a little bit disappointed in Hippomaniacs here that they don't show more resolve in finishing this game, because this is clearly not over. Wind and Rain are not taking this lying down, and Nefrit has become a real menace. Actually knocking at this top racks right now.
Yeah, he's not holding back right now. I mean, they've lost 2 lanes of barracks themselves. They're looking to maybe get 1 in response. Lifestealer does have the buyback. He's going to be back in 10 seconds. They will
It would relieve so much of the map pressure.
Yeah, they will break high ground. And this is the one lane where they have their barracks. So if they did take these barracks, then it would allow at least 1 lane to push in for them, but it never happens.
Dire's top shrine is under attack.
And it isn't the biggest deal, especially this late in the game, to lose 2 racks. In the sense that you can always push it out again, but you will need to show in order to do that. It's forced information. And especially with this deep ward in their base as well, any hero that comes back to defend will get spotted already. I really like that ward over there. I'm sure that's his enemy.
Yeah, that's a big brain ward. Knowing when the enemy is going to be at a disadvantage due to these creeps. Wind and Rain, they're doing a good job sticking together, not allowing that to happen. Done. And they actually see the ward. Is that just in tower range?
Was it in tower range? Oh, it was just in tower range. Well, never mind about the big, but it was big.
Terrible ward.
Yeah, awful. I didn't know why you'd do that. Zenny, you've had such an awful game. No.
Get out of here, Zenny.
No, like.
Cute idea, bad execution.
I mean, I imagine it was dropped in the middle of the team fight there. It's often a very good idea, especially when team fighting at night, to if you're a support, next to dropping all of your spells, you also drop a ward, because even if you die, extra vision, especially at nighttime, can give your team such a great advantage.
You know one thing I enjoy though, when we get to these super late game situations, it's Invoker players who are really damn good, and Supreme is an Invoker player who's really damn good. And he's got himself a refresher, he's got himself a blink, he's gonna be having a lot of fun in these next few fights, just jumping around casting spells, so hopefully he can get a good fight off. But of course, in the last few fights, he had some trouble, didn't he?
He was having a little bit too much fun, I'd say.
Oh yeah, he got a bit too carried away. He was like, oh yeah, just playing his hype music, playing his hype playlist, and then jumping into the middle of everyone, being like, here we go, put on the shades, put on the hacker gloves, and then instantly dies twice. Happens to the best of us.
Yeah, who hasn't gotten drunk on their own power and fed a bunch?
Oh yeah.
Let him who
Rite
is
of
without
passage.
sin cast the first stone.
Muff is very much on the front lines right now, but he's taking such a long time to die. They can't even kill him, and he just goes up on the cliff, and he's happy to be here as the Cataclysm comes down, bringing down Boogie, and down goes Supreme, though, dying quickly afterwards as well, as Nefrit gets on top of him. The Death Ward not doing a whole lot to him as they run down Boom, and now look over towards the Witch Doctor. There's a bit of a slaughter as Wind and Rain just find all the targets they want right now. Full freedom in this fight to go on who they wish. Tiny going to be the final target here, and he's going to get dropped as well. Goodbye, sir. 4 heroes dead now, as Nikwa finishes off Seni as well. Hippomaniacs, they take an extremely messy engagement, and I mean, just none of their spells used correctly in that system. Like, Invoker dying early without really getting many of his spells off.
We were talking about you, Supreme.
Yeah. There were issues.
There were issues, yeah. And one of the things that happened earlier is that their vision on that cliff got taken away. So even though they had been making their home in the radiant side of the jungle there, they didn't actually have that vision advantage anymore. So Wind and Rain gets to jump on that cuddle, everyone's startled, and then drops their spells pretty much willy-nilly, and in Supreme's case, drops his life.
And this is where willy-nilly spells at this point in the game.
Yeah, and hear it well. Like, you've been using your buybacks.
Wind and Rain, they're trying to push for the win. Nope, they go back to the barracks, but this is still 2 buybacks. Witch Doctor has his, but he's back in 18 seconds anyway. But with the way these barracks are falling, I mean, Nikwa's hit 25, so these towers are going to be absolutely shredding. They know the Invoker has no buybacks. They're going to try and go for the Megas. They're going to stick together, which is a nice play. It just, you can see that Tiny is missing. They're very, very careful not to give anything away to this Tiny, because don't forget, they can't see very much right now. They're going up onto high ground in the nighttime. Now they'll move towards the top, where they do actually have a ward down here as well. And look at this. Diabolic Edict just absolutely annihilating these barracks, and just like that, the Mega Creeps are going to come out, and they're going to try and get some Requiem kills. Maybe Nefrit could be the target, but they don't have him. Yes, they do. A stun comes out. They're trying to get the bashes here. Come on, come on. There we go. The bashes come out, and Nefrit on the run. In comes the... Oh, no, the 4-star away. Keeps him out of the Sunstrike, but surely they can bring down the carry. Yes, they can. He's dead. 100 seconds does have the buyback.
Wind and Rain getting away with absolute carnage right there, and it's just Supreme.
Come on, buddy. We need to see the fight of dreams from you, my friend.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think we need to see the fight of dreams. We haven't needed to see the fight of dreams.
See a mediocre fight, yeah.
Yeah.
Fight of mediocreness.
Mediocre Invoker.
That's what we want. That's all we want, Supreme. You know, we don't need to have the you know, the Twitch top 10 clips of the week or whatever coming out from you. We just need you to fulfill your duty and not die so fast. But I mean, I still want to see him pull off the. We know he can play at super high level, but yeah.
I'd love to see it. But if you force it, then it's not going to happen. And I think a lot of things in this game, especially for Supreme, have felt too forced. I'm not sure if
Supreme with a refresher orb and a refresher shard. I'm on board.
Has he used a refresher yet?
Yeah, he used a refresher last fight just before he died.
Oh, well, yeah.
So, unfortunately, it doesn't refresh buyback. It didn't really do much good.
It does not. Well, he's going to have buyback for the next fight at the very least. And Megas, They can hold this out. They have a lot of deep push. These boots of travel on the Invoker they have been doing work in the map control. This Tiny is a right-click beast all on his own, but you definitely have the tides against you now. And the worst part is that it might be the best idea to sit back and try and get a good team fight where Wind and Rain tries to engage into you. Because I'm not sure the gold difference at this point matters too much. What you are looking for more than anything is to have them all clustered in a group, nice and together, under that Ignis Fadus, and you drop a bunch of spells on their heads. And you still win there. The team fight is still overwhelmingly in Hippomaniac's favor. It's just that with these mega creeps pushing in now, it's going to be way harder for them to get that proper 5-on-5 fight, way harder to get all of that vision out. I'm hoping to see Seni. Let's see. He doesn't have any wards on him right now. That's a problem. There's at least one ward on the courier. He needs to get at least some form of offensive vision out if they want to stand a chance of actually taking a good fight in the next 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, the vision in the fights has been extremely important, as we saw in the last one as well. You know, Coddle tries to hide in the cliff. They had a ward up there anyway, so they just bring down Muff just as quickly. He doesn't really get much done, even though he's got the Side of Vice, so he'd really like to stay alive in these fights. You know, if he can keep alive, got the Lotus Orb on the Side of Vice, but I don't know what he was doing so far forward there. But in the last fight, he was the first one to get jumped, just right here in front of everybody. And then the Invoker was right behind him as well. So it's just kind of the way which Hippomaniacs are approaching these fights. You don't want to have the heroes, you don't want to die in the front lines, which is, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's not exactly rocket science when you talk about it like this, but when you're in the game, it's the theories just go out the window. When you can see everything, it looks super simple, but you don't know where the enemy are. You don't know which direction they're going to be approaching you from. Wind and Rain have proven that they can be unpredictable in how they take these fights as well, which is pretty key.
Yeah, and something that I'm wondering is if Hippomaniacs, they have been playing with a different lineup, right, before, and you can't help but wonder that, for example, Boom, is he positioned far forward enough? If his backline keeps getting caught out, is it because they're filling spaces where they instinctively feel that heroes need to be, but Boom is not up there? That's one of the things that might happen. And that's something that, you know, if I go into a replay later, that's what I'm gonna look forward to.
Yeah.
To finding out. But right now, I don't think we have time for that. They're actually storming up the high ground. Hippomaniacs know they have the team fight advantage, and they are looking to equalize on this last Rax.
Yeah, they want to go Mega on Mega. They're going to have the time against them. However, as the bottom lane Mega creeps are starting to push in.
And they're just putting Boom on the Rax.
Look at him just focusing it up right now. He's got an Aegis. He's actually going to use the Abyssal Blade onto the Wyvern. Wyvern just gets scooped up, but he's got buyback coming back into this one. Now Boogie being chased as well. But meanwhile, there's another fight going on right now as Ignis Fadus comes down. Conqueror and Nefrit, though, they're going to back themselves out. Boogie was able to survive this one as they drag back into everybody. But look at them all grabbed up together, trying to kill the Lifestealer. Will be able to do so. The double Ignis coming down as Neeko is separated out from his team. In comes the Lifestealer back for round 2. A beautiful curse coming down onto the Coddle. He just gets eaten alive by his own teammates. Torn apart, limb from limb, horse and all. Now they look towards Boom. Boom, though, the second life gets only flashed up with nobody nearby. That is going to be the Lifestealer dead again. 125 seconds. Your big hero is dead without buyback. They all in for the barracks, trying to get the Mega Creeps, and I think they might have just lost the game with this. A 3-man defense. It feels so hard. Can they pull this off? I mean, Hippomaniacs, the odds are so against them right now.
Wind and Rain, no, look at them just teleporting into that mid lane. Supreme needs to be careful, actually. He can't walk out there.
Well, he's got the buyback. I think he needs to try something here. They actually gave the refresher shard to the Coddle. That's what that double Ignis Fadus was about. I was wondering where he picked up the... it would have surprised me if he had a refresher, but... That's where I went to.
They
So they
have
need to
Curry, they have
find
Supreme. They could
pick
burst
off. They
someone
need to
down.
do something. They need to find someone. Nico would be a fantastic target. Probably the only target that actually doesn't have buyback. And he has that Ignis Sparta. Senny's trying to find him on the backlines, forced to pop that BKB, but Shanice is getting melted by the Diabolic Edict, blasting through that BKB. No problems at all. And meanwhile, on the front lines, they're actually able to take down Supreme. Supreme is dead. Tiny as well, being focused up. The fight is an absolute mess. The Cataclysm not doing much, especially with the Stampede. Going to reduce the damage, and that is your good game. The Ancient will fall, and Wind and Rain take an emphatic victory in game number 1 versus Hippomaniacs in this group stage, taking it 1-0 to start it all off.
Ooh.
The checks kept in check.
Yeah. And just a messy game from both of them, but I feel that Wind and Rain still had things better together than they honestly than they had any right to. Like they kept bashing their head against that Roshan wall even after it didn't work anymore. I would have liked to see them try some more pick-off related tactics to get over that hump in the mid game. But instead, yeah, they give Hippomaniacs a shot at the game, and Hippomaniacs are just a little bit over-eager. Invoker, over-positioned. I feel like Boom in that last fight, for example, too eager to get a kill onto the Winter Wyvern instead of focusing the racks. If he stays there, right? If he stays there and sits on top of those racks, he actually gives Supreme an angle to throw his spells into a centered fight. But because Boom chases in, he stretches the fight out, and it becomes this weird clustered situation of one-on-one fights where Supreme is definitely going to lose out against heroes such as a Leshrac. Even Nikwa played really well this game, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, it
And
was...
you're not leveraging your lineup quite right.
No, you're not. It's we're Wind and Rain playing some nice, and just those clutch moments when they were behind, when they took, that smoke fight. I was so impressed with
That
when
was
they
beautiful,
smoked around
yeah.
the back. I mean, they were close to losing the game at that stage, and that was kind of like a back to the wall kind of effort. But they played beautifully, and I also want to point out, this is a team which has been losing. They got 2-0 twice yesterday, so this is not a team which has been like, doing well, and then they lose, they start losing versus Hippomaniacs, and they go. Most teams in that situation just go, oh, well, we're just getting wrecked again. Morale is through the floor, but they keep it together. They keep it creative. They keep the productive and creative sides of their brain switched on. I don't know what's going on in this team, but there's got to be some serious mental fortitude coming out from these guys, because to play that well when you are, how far down were they here? Just over 10k gold behind, but against their lineup felt like so much more. They're against an Invoker and Lifesteal late game as well. It wasn't feeling good for them, but they hold it together. They make some beautiful plays, and then, just really scrappy team fights, which they managed to pull ahead on, and Hippomaniacs start making mistakes. They're the ones who kind of a little bit threw away this victory, but Wind and Rain definitely deserved the win. They worked really, really hard for it. So full on congratulations to them, and I'm really excited to see these two teams face it off in a game number 2 now.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like Hippomaniacs, they had it all. Can they come back mentally now from the fact that this game was theirs to lose and they lost it? I'm very curious to see if they have the same mental fortitude as their opponents.
Yep, a big test for both these teams now, as Wind and Rain could really use a victory to try and claw their way back into the playoffs. Meanwhile, Hippomaniacs, they've taken a big loss here. They're going to need to turn things around for their own sakes here. And also, they still stand a chance of being knocked down to a lower elimination bracket as well. So big things on the line for both of these teams. Wind and Rain, Hippomaniacs, game number 2 going to be coming up very shortly here on Beyond the Summit 4. My name is No Match. She's been Kits. You're enjoying the cast. Please let us know, and we'll be back very shortly with the next match.